Here's a shocking story. How young is too young to be tasered? Two police officers in Indiana are under scrutiny today after tasering a 10-year-old boy at his daycare center. They say they just wanted to protect the unruly child from himself and to protect others, but did they go too far? Joining us for a fair and balanced debate is Stephen Razor, a former prosecutor, and Mimi Coffey, a defense attorney. Thanks to both of you for being here. Stephen, I want to start with you because you support the police's decision in this. So when is it ever okay to taser a 10-year-old?
Well, I start by saying it's never a good thing to taser a 10-year-old. I'm not here to say otherwise. What I am here to say, though, is I'm going along what the police department is doing at this point, which is to withhold judgment until they have all the facts. I mean, it's very easy for us to stand there and say what the police should or shouldn't do before all the facts are in. So I support the police department's position right now, where they're going to conduct an internal investigation. The officers are on administrative duty with pay, pending the investigation.
Mimi, here are some of the facts as we know them from media reports, which are the police were called to this daycare center. It's ironically called Tender Teddy's, and they found this 10-year-old boy who was yelling at one of the adult workers there, kicking, slapping, screaming profanities. What should the police have done?
Okay, well, if we look at the facts and we apply the reasonabness of the totality of the circumstances standard that the Supreme Court has already outlined in Graham v. Connor, number one, we look at the severity of the crime. You're right, Allison, kicking, screaming, yelling. Are we talking about the commission of a felony here by the 10-year-old? No. Number two, the danger that was posed to the officers. This child was 94 pounds. Matthew Mount, the spokesperson of the Martinsville Police Department, said that the officers were considerably bigger, so no danger. And number three, the risk of flight. Well, even if this 10-year-old managed to escape and run off, they always know where to find him. So was it reasonable in this circumstance? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Stephen, your response.
Well, that's fine to say, again, without having all the facts, number one. And number two, that analysis is great. However, you're leaving some facts out. What you have to consider is, will the taser be the least, will it be effective, or will restraining the child possibly lead to more harm to that child? That's something else that the police have to take into consideration. And I do want you to consider as well that these cases have come up time and time again where the police have not been held liable. A 71-year-old woman, 4'11", was tasered. That was found that the police were not culpable in that case. A pregnant woman sitting in her car, tasered, police not responsible. So I don't think we should take these harsh stances so quickly until we have all the facts.
And here we're showing a full screen of some of the other incidents in which tasers were used. Mimi, what do you think, I mean, to Stephen's point, what do you think they should have done? Had they overpowered the 10-year-old boy, maybe they would have knocked him down, broken some bones, or bruised him? Is that the right answer?
Well, Stephen almost alluded to what the spokesperson of the Martinsville Police Department said, which is their policy is you start on the continuum of force using the least amount of force. And so slapping a child, tasering the child, is this the least amount of force necessary? No. And it would appear to me that the police department's not even really standing behind with what they're saying, these two police officers. The bottom line, Allison, is if you cannot handle a 10-year-old, you have no business being a police officer.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Go ahead, quickly.
Okay. I just want to say, too, that this has happened before with this child. So there's another piece yet missing here, which we don't know what their experience was in the past with this child. They had an experience where he was called. The police were called because they could not control him. They went to the house one time before. What was their experience during that encounter? We don't know. So we need to know that as well, because those police officers were going in there with knowledge as to how this child behaved in the past. And this is information that we don't have.
Very quickly, let me read the statement from the Martinsville Police Department. They say, while this department will not condone the unnecessary treatment of any subject, regardless of age, in an apprehension situation, additional comments will not be made pending results of the final investigation. So obviously there's more to this story that we will find out in the coming weeks. Mimi Coffey, Stephen Razor, thanks so much for coming on to debate it.
Thank you for having us.
All right, meanwhile.